Hello and welcome to Business Line's webinar. Today we have a very interesting topic to discuss. Before that, let me introduce myself. This is Venkatesha Babu. I'm a resident editor with Business Line. We have a very eminent guest today to talk on a very hot topic. Um, all of us are worried about the kind of impact. Some are worried, some are very excited about the impact that artificial intelligence would have on our lives, on our careers in general. The apprehension is AI taking away IT jobs. To discuss this and more, let me first welcome Rajesh Varrier. He's the chairman and managing director of Cognizant India. He also is the president of their global operations. Rajesh, welcome to this Business Lines webinar.
Thank you, Venkatesh. It's a pleasure being here. It's wonderful talking to you. I wish I was sitting in Bangalore next to you, but here I am in Chennai, and there you are in my home city, Bangalore. But it's a great pleasure being here. Thank you for having me on this show.
Thank you. Let me give a little bit of perspective before we proceed on this conversation. Ever since India opened its economy up in 1991, one sector which has brought a lot of kudos to India in general has been the technology sector. It has done amazingly well. Roughly in 91, 92, India used to do about $200 million in IT exports. Last year, we closed at $224 billion. That gives you a kind of indication of the kind of journey which we have traversed during this period. The overall size of the IT industry in India is about $284 billion, employs about 58 lakh people, 5.8 million people directly, and a multiple of that indirectly. So it's a very, very crucial sector for India's fortunes. It also contributes roughly about 7.5% to India's GDP. So any kind of impact which the IT sector would face will obviously have huge repercussions, not just for the country, but for all of us. So without much ado, let me bring in Rajesh here. Rajesh, you have been a part of this journey. You have seen over the last 3.5 decades the kind of evolution which the tech sector in general, as well as Indian IT in particular, has gone through. Challenges to the Indian IT sector are not new. We have seen similar inflection points. First, when the entire Y2K scare happened around late 1990s. In fact, Indian IT converted that into a huge opportunity and got its leg in globally. In the immediate aftermath of the dot-com buzz, similar apprehensions were expressed. Again, in 2008, when the global economy, there was a buzz, there were again talk of whether Indian IT's role would become peripheral. Multiple times, Indian IT has proved its resilience. Uh, Give us a little bit of context in terms of whether, again, given all the chatter around AI, some of it real, some of it may be vaporware yet. Uh, what is your perspective? Where are we currently? And we will keep wading in during the course of the discussion. Over to you, Rajesh.
Thanks, Venkatesh. I think your question is more about what is the impact of that you're going to be seeing on the tech sector because of the evolution in AI. Is that where you're going with the question?
Correct.
Okay. Uh, I know that this is on everybody's mind. AI is impacting every industry that we know of. It's an exciting new technology. There are, like you rightfully said, Venkatesh, there are folks who are very excited about it, and there are some folks who are worried about it. And there is always this question about, where will this evolution of technology take us from where we are? Interestingly, I happened to read some articles on evolution of technology and how it has impacted mankind over the years. And every time there is a significant shift in technology, there's always a worry as to where does it take us, and there is always some sense of uncertainty. But if we really look back in time, And I'm going to take you really back in time, so bear with me here. Uh, Early 1700s is when the mankind saw the first industrial revolution, with the evolution of steam engine and what have you. It created a very positive, net positive GDP impact. Countries were seeing a growth. There was shift of jobs from rural to urban areas, and the same thing pursued happened in the second industrial revolution, when you had electricity and combustion engine and mass production, etc., come in, when we saw again the GDP increase of the world. um, this has been the trend for every time there has been a technology shift, which has significantly impacted, humanity. There has always been a technology shift for the positive. Of course, there's always been an uptick, both on jobs as well as the economies overall. And you rightfully talked about the last 30 years, Venkatesh. So if you look at 30, 35 years ago, I mean, I started my career in the early 90s. I remember walking into my college in 91, 92, when we used to have one single PC in the room. You had to leave the shoes outside and go in and work, and we used to get turns to work on. That is how rare it was, but it was just beginning to come in and impact our lives. And by mid 90s, we were already talking about loss of jobs and how computers are going to take away a lot of the jobs, and worries around it, etc. And these were real. I mean, there was these were real worries. But look at the last 30 years. Like you said, it has not only created jobs in IT sector. If you look at the impact of technology on our own economy as a country, what a phenomenal impact it has had. Our GDP has become so much more stronger. It has created so much more jobs. I'm pretty sure I read an article on impact of jobs from the over the last 30 years. Technology has probably created 2.5 or 3 jobs for every jobs that was there before that. You know. So it has been a significant net positive impact, and we all have seen how India has ridden the mobile wave, and how that has given rise to so many new businesses, right? Whether it is businesses which are delivering you goods in 5 minutes, or things which are allowing you to book airline tickets, and all whole host of stuff, right? And all of this has been because of the advent of technology. So I am really a strong believer on a net positive impact. Of course, there will be some impact in certain jobs. There's no question about it. Like if you go back in time, and the easiest thing for us to relate to, Venkatesh, we used to have typists and stenos, and part of the job family. That was part, right. When computers came into existence, some of those jobs went away, and that was bound to happen. People, retrained themselves, upskilled themselves, and went on to taking other jobs, right. So with every change in technology, I truly expect that there will be a multiplying effect on economy. There will be a multiplying effect on the jobs in the job market. There will also be inherent expectation that we upskill and reskill ourselves to keep up with the changes in the world around us. So that's the direction in which I see things moving. If I have answered your question, that's basically where I see things moving.
So, are the apprehensions surrounding AI, are they overblown? I ask you this because if you look at a couple of weeks back, for instance, Microsoft laid off about 3% of its global workforce, roughly affecting about 6,000 people. Similarly, Google laid off a bunch of people. A section of analysts attributed all of that to AI. So, will we see a lot of pain before there is gain happening, uh, or this apprehensions fairly temporary, and you see, as you said, net addition of jobs eventually happening?
I It's a good question, Venkatesh. And I think this is normal evolution of industries with change in times, change in the nature of business, or change in technology. I'm quite certain that if you go back and look at the number of people that these companies have hired, and the number of people that have either attrited or who have been let go, Over the years, the patterns will largely be the same. I'm not sure I'm seeing something dramatically different today, right? Uh, there will always be change in workforce for various reasons. So for example, a business might be focusing on a particular geography, and they've decided to change the shift in a geography. They will let go of the local workforce. They might move to a different geography. There may be a business which has taken a bet on a particular product line, decided that it's not working. They move to another product line and they change the workforce. Or there is certain changes in technology which requires you to upskill and cross skill, and there may be people who are just not there in terms of upskilling and cross skilling, and have to go and find themselves jobs where they can fit better. So there could be a whole variety of reasons, but I strongly believe that we are not seeing something special with respect to because of AI. That these layoffs are these are largely BAU, and I'm pretty sure for the 6,000 or so the companies that you mentioned who laid off, they must have hired 10x more in other parts of the world for sure. So these are see here. Here's what I think. To my point on growth in GDP and economy, a lot of these companies will see net positive growth, and that net positive will growth will come with requiring newer skills, with requiring upskilling, but certainly creating more jobs. That's something I truly believe.
Before I come to specific skill sets, which would probably be much more in demand, and how to navigate the kind of challenges which are upcoming, just to close the loop on the India question, India benefited a lot because if you look at cost was a huge advantage. We could literally throw warm bodies at problems and get it solved at a significantly lower cost. Of course, then the cost changed to other things, including the value which Indian IT provides over the years, which is the reason why we have seen witness the kind of growth which Indian IT has done. But do you see India getting disproportionately affected because of the kind of changes, especially in terms of people numbers happening in the near future, Rajesh?
No, fair question. And Venkatesh, I believe we are at the cusp of a significant amount of growth um, in India because of the technology shift. I'll tell you the reason why. The first and the foremost reason is there is no other country on the face of the earth that has such a large, vast population of tech enabled talent. So, if I were to plant my flag in any corner of the world and place my bets on which part of the world is going to be the AI office of the world, there is no question it will be India. And look
That's
at where we
yeah,
are, right? And look at where we are. We have been blessed with a phenomenally strong educational infrastructure. There is so many colleges and universities which are churning out a number of graduates. So our education infrastructure is very, very strong. On top of the strong education infrastructure, you have a very strong IT industry, which you pointed out earlier, which has close to 6 million people working in it and continuing to grow, right? Every year, the industry is growing. The rate of growth, we might, have a long debate on should it have grown 5%, 6%, 10%, etc. But there is no question that this industry is continuing to grow and probably grow faster than many other sectors, while it may be relatively lower than its own growth path in the past, right? So, given the combination of the fact that we have great educational infrastructure, number of people who are coming out with the right degrees, a great IT sector which supports, the world economy, if you will, right? If there is AI that needs to be done, it will be here. It will be innovations will be here. Thought leadership will come out of here. Productivity gains will be driven from here. And I think there was an article that our Cognizant CEO had, or he talked about this in the media a couple of days back, where he felt that there is going to be more fresher jobs, unlike many people who bet on it, because freshers are able to generate good quality outcome with these productivity tools. So we believe that we're going to come net positive out of this. Now, if you look at Cognizant itself, we are of course training our people all through in AI technologies, etc. We also have a program called Synapse. We started this program Synapse I think a couple of years back, with the commitment that we will train about 1 million people in the coming years. And this is not just our employees. We will also provide the training through colleges and schools, etc. And and we believe every organization, a large organization, is doing something on these lines. So you're going to have a fairly significant population of AI enabled people in this market who will serve the world worldwide, right? All the large brands, Fortune 1000, Fortune 2000, they will all turn around and look at India for being able to make their aspirations come true. And
It's
one more thing, sorry, Venkatesh, I just had one more thing and then I'll let you jump in, is that this whole this whole growth story is not just about it's not about Chennai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Calcutta, the major cities, Mumbai, Pune, etc. It is also about the smaller cities. Cognizant has recently opened its offices in Ahmedabad. We have a small presence. We're starting there. We're expecting to grow about 1,500 people in Ahmedabad. We have opened an office in Indore. We have one in Bhubaneswar. We have one in Cochin. All of these centers, the smaller cities, are also really bustling with talent and have a significant ability to scale up. So I'm like net positive, and I'll continue to emphasize that on this conversation, Venkatesh. Sorry, please go ahead. You had some question. Yeah.
very reassuring to hear that, but let me play the devil's
Yes.
advocate just for a moment to draw your thoughts on this. Uh, about 17 to 18 million youngsters enter the Indian workforce, almost equivalent to some small country's population every year.
Absolutely.
India graduates about 1.5 million to 2 million STEM graduates, including engineers. What do they need to change, to tweak, to adapt themselves to this new world which you are outlining?
No, very, very important question, and it's a topic which is very close to my heart, actually. And I've been advocating this for a while. So there are a couple of things to, I would talk about here. One is the simpler thing, right? Companies like Cognizant are investing significant amount of money in ensuring that the people that we bring on board from colleges and schools that you're talking about are trained and enabled to be able to work on these newer technologies and solve business problems, right? We really spend a lot of effort and energy there. Now, we also so if you look at the academia, right? um, Not all of the academia have access to the latest and the greatest technology, or the latest and the greatest knowledge of the evolving sectors. And there is a reason. I mean, these technology changes are happening at such rapid pace that companies like Cognizant are have to be on their toes to keep up with it. That's the reality. I mean, we are literally on our toes every day. Okay, what is the latest technology? How have we adopted it? Who's got trained? Who's got certified? How are we creating a program so that our folks can actually keep up with this, right? I can only imagine the challenge the academia has to keep up with it, and we have literally the cockpit view, if you will, into changes in technology in the world, right? And still we are often challenged to keep pace with it, right? So academia obviously will have a significant challenge as well. There is obviously a number of education institutions which are themselves in the forefront of changing technologies. You can talk about IITs and ISCs, etc. But there is obviously a section of academia which will struggle, right? Now, I always think about it as to how do we bridge the gap, and how do we make sure the millions of graduates that you're talking about have an opportunity to stay connected with the latest and the greatest technologies, right? And the answer to that is it has to be a partnership between industry and academia. Industry has to turn around and build a meaningful and strong partnership with academia. That is really, really important. So, Cognizant, for example, we have partnership with some 20 odd universities. And what do? Right? We invest time and energy to build a curriculum that is relevant uh, to today's needs, right? And that curriculum will keep changing. If you had asked me 2 years ago, we probably would not have a lot of the tools that we're using today from an AI standpoint. So obviously those have come in and evolved today. So those are part of today's curriculum, right? And that's constantly changing. So we build a curriculum, we go and have conversations with these universities and colleges and build a partnership with them wherein the graduating students maybe in the second last to last semester have exposure to what is really coming up in the job industry or in the industry that they're looking to get into. Every industry is going to get impacted by it. It's not just IT industry, right? So this training, whether they're going into IT industry or whether they're going to banking industry or retail sector, is not going to go waste, right? So they, if anything, they will be armed with some really cool knowledge which can help them in the jobs that they're planning to do. So that deep partnership, I think, is very, very essential, and we are working hard at it. We are continuing to expand our partnerships with universities, help them with the curriculum, and also help them impart. So we actually have our own people go to colleges and conduct classes as well, right? So this is the second part. But I think one important part which I must touch upon is the best investment that you can make is the investment on yourself, right? I would encourage all of the students and people who are in their careers to make sure they're constantly learning and reading and learning at all the time, because we are in an industry which is a knowledge industry. For us, learning is lifelong learning. Every day we need to spend some amount of time learning something new, and that is self-driven. And there is plenty of learning content online which is freely available, right? I personally spend at least 2 3 hours a day reading. I read as much as I can to keep myself abreast of what's happening in the world around me and what's changing in my industry and what's going to impact, my job and the world around me in sense, right? So I would strongly encourage. The third part is also equally important: is invest in yourself. Enough of content online. Spend plenty of time learning to stay abreast, and that's the way you can compete. The upcoming students can compete from these colleges, can compete in the world around us, if that makes sense, Venkatesh.
Absolutely. Those are excellent suggestions. Just a couple of thoughts on this. Whether it is Cognizant, whether it is TCS, Infosys, Wipro, HCL Tech, some of the big players, they literally right now invest tens of millions of dollars training people whom they hire, because most of these people come with certificates but are, as one industry doyen keeps remarking, most of them are unemployable, and it takes a lot of effort on the part of industry to make them billable, employable. Do you see that with the kind of initiatives being taken by Cognizant and other players, that the curricula itself being fundamentally tweaked in a manner such that more industry ready, industry friendly graduates come out, and you can actually induct and run with them from day one rather than spend anywhere between 6 months to a year to even make them presentable before clients?
No, so a very good question, Venkatesh. So our attempt to make sure that we seed, learning content into the learning curriculums of these universities is not because they will become job ready on day one. It is because it is essential for students coming out of colleges, if they are looking at an IT career, to understand the fundamentals of technology, which will help them, make the right decisions from a career standpoint, and also obviously get them to a better place when it comes to joining companies like Cognizant. Right? But I still believe that once they come in, see, we don't spend 6 months to 1 year, teaching kids. We have about 3 to 6 months curriculum, max 6 months maybe. Again, it depends upon where they come from, how much of inherent knowledge they have, and they actually jumping into a job, etc. Will it help? Of course, it will help. As we do more of this, there will be less of upfront effort that you need to get them to be job ready. But still, there are things which you will teach them. For example, you want to teach them the way Cognizant does its own projects, right? We have our methodology, we have our processes, we have our ways of working. So all of that will still be applicable. And we will also give them, so for example, the thing is, the subject is so vast, right? The technology space is so vast. Let's say, I'll give you a hypothetical example. Okay, we are doing a course in a college, and we're teaching them fundamentals of software, which goes on to teach them how you can do Java, J2E coding, or Angular, or React, etc., all the usual technologies, right? Now the person comes and joins us, and we have significant needs in SAP or Oracle and some of those areas. You have to go and do your training, and you have to do your learning. Now, this is not just about students coming out of college. This is the reality for us on an everyday basis for the entire workforce. So I have no complaints about students coming in and we having to spend money in actually training and teaching them. I'm absolutely happy to do that, because that's the way of our life. We are training and teaching people every day. It's not just the one who's starting up on day one from college. It's also the one who spent with us 2 years, 6 years, 10 years, 15 years. We're teaching everybody every day, and this is the way of our life. So absolutely, happy to continue the journey. Yes, will it help us more? Of course, it'll help us more. It'll help them more. It'll help them make their decisions better as well, right? Or should I actually spend time more on Microsoft technologies? Should I do more on open source technologies? Should I work on packages, etc.? Those things, they will get an understanding of what they want to do with their career as well.
Okay, let me start off before I move to there are so many audience questions, but before I move on, are there any jobs at all which are immune to AI and its impact in today's world? That's much easier than to address, what jobs will be impacted by AI. At least as I see, every single sector will be touched in some way or the other. What is your viewpoint, Rajesh?
Venkatesh, so let's talk about the industries first, right?
Hmm?
Every industry is going to be impacted by AI. So today, I don't think there is a company in the world which is not having a discussion internally and asking themselves the question, so what are we doing with AI? How can we get more productive? How can we get more efficient? How can we deliver a better customer service? How can we deliver products faster to the market? A whole host of questions around which they're looking at AI use cases which can help them do better. I don't think there's any company which is not doing that, right? I don't think there is any company which is not looking at possibilities for AI training for their employees, right? Every job, like you said, Venkatesh, eventually is going to get impacted. So Cognizant did we did a year back, we did a study with Oxford Economics, and we said we want to study the impact of it may be a little more than a year actually. We want to study the impact of AI on jobs. So we took about 1,000 jobs, and these 1,000 jobs comprises of about 18,000 tasks, and we said, okay, let's look at the AI exposure of these tasks. Okay, so for example, if a task is content writing, the AI exposure is higher because I can actually give a synopsis of what I want to write, put it in a chat GPT, and it will actually give me a fair amount of content, right? So what is the AI exposure of the tasks? And once we finished the study, we realized that 90% of the jobs will get impacted by AI in varying degrees, right? And some of them will get significantly impacted, like a content writing, for example, and some of them may get less impacted. But over a period of 7, 8 years, this impact will be very visible to us. So, is there any job that will not get impacted? I don't think so. I think all the jobs will largely get impacted. My 2 cents is that, you know, like how we evolved from a pre-computer era to a computer era, right? Where everybody learned how to use computers because that's the basis of your job, right? It doesn't matter whether you're an HR person, whether you're a finance person, legal person, whether you're working in banking, financial services industry, or healthcare. Everybody today has to use computers. So same way, we are entering in an era where AI will become a assistant or a tool to you to make sure you're doing your job faster, better, etc. So everybody will see an impact of it.
There are a lot of subscriber and viewer questions. Much as I would have loved to personally ask you several more, Rajesh, because this comments are so insightful. I'll have to move to some of them. One of our business line subscribers, Abhishek, says that our AI models maturing as fast as being claimed, especially winning the trust of the market in adoption, because there is a degree of skepticism that probably this is a little bit of vaporware right now, that maybe things aren't as hunky dory as as painted by the industry. How do you see that?
So, like, good question there, Bharat. Thank you for the question. So, Venkatesh, like in anything, there is always a lot of noise, and a lot more noise than reality, for sure, right? And I agree with your viewpoint on that. But are AI models evolving? They are certainly evolving. Whether you look at the initial version of a ChatGPT to the 4.0, which is running, or the versions that Anthropic has, or any of these have, they are certainly evolving. Look at the coding tools, how they have moved from where they were to today, vibe coding tools which are in the market. They're all certainly moving fast. Now, maybe 2 years back, people said, in 2 years, it's all going to be AI, and we are not there yet. So I'm pretty sure the narrative is far ahead of what the reality is, and there is some gap to it. But there is also the reality that this is in our lives today. There's no going away from that.
Another subscriber, Mohammed Junaid, has a question. This is something which, obviously, a lot of them want to know which type of jobs are most secure and high paying in the era of growing impact of AI. Everybody wants to have a high paying job. So, obviously, which are the ones which are most secure and which will enable faster career progression?
Good question. I will talk about it from the perspective of IT, uh, and not universal set of jobs. So I don't have the knowledge to to address the universe of jobs. I'll talk about from the perspective of IT. So if you really look at it, right, think about clients who are looking to go on this journey, and believe me, a lot of these clients who are looking to go on this journey are at the initial stages of the journey. So they are examining what can AI do for us in our business, right? And trying to get an answer to the question as to where should I start? What's a good point to start, right? And then there are a lot of clients who have figured out where to start, but need the capability to actually get some use cases going, proof of concepts going, and understanding of the proof of concepts on the impact of on the business, etc. Now, if you are in the business of AI, which is people who are helping customers lay a roadmap for artificial intelligence, helping them solve complex problems with AI, pure play AI, then of course you're in a space where you're in high demand, right? And there's no question about it. So there is clearly a space which is AI engineers, which are no question in high demand, and they definitely command a premium in the market. But having said that, I think from an IT standpoint, all the jobs have AI component to it, so will continue to be in demand. So yes, if you really want to look at this, then you should look at it from the AI lens, saying that, you know what, I'm going to do courses in AI and I'm going to really become an ace AI professional. Then you are definitely on your way.
Another subscriber, Neeraj Kapoor, wants a more personalized perspective. All of us know that financial services as well as BFSI is probably one of the biggest chunks of Indian IT industry's strength. Probably we get about close to a third or a little more in terms of our export revenues from that. He wants to know what is the impact of on financial services provider companies, especially for companies. And the second part of his question is equally interesting because this is something which lots of others have asked too. He says that whether there will be greater impact on entry level jobs because of the rollout of AI.
Okay. So the first question about impact of service providers to financial services sector, I think the impact is just like in any other part of the business. Um, the way I like to look at it is, it is in some ways, um, I'll combine both the questions into one answer. Okay, I'm just trying to think through how to answer the question. So if you look at it, today people who are starting a career in IT sector, I think everybody should learn coding. Do not think for a moment that I don't have to learn coding. It will be great to learn coding because at the end of the day, you will work with complex set of systems which require knowledge of how to manage software across complex set of systems. So coding is a really good place to start. As you move into the job, will the AI impact your job? AI, I believe, will actually give you a multiplying effect to the work that you're doing. The reason I believe that is in Cognizant, we have seen that associates who are at the entry level, the junior level, the youngsters who are there, their productivity has gone up by 50% compared to the seniors whose productivity has gone up relatively by 17%, 16, 17% using AI. So we believe that there will be a lot more work for people who are at the junior level because you're really bringing down the mean level down in some sense. And we will expect a lot more of these tools to arm you to do a lot more better, right? So I'm not sure if I answered the question, but if you're at an entry level, I think there will be plenty of jobs at the entry level. Will there be bots doing stuff? Of course there will be bots doing stuff. That's the natural direction which we're going. But there will be plenty of jobs at the junior level, but you need to certainly learn how to use technology to be able to do that, right? Now, coming back to the financial services sector question, I think financial services sector and every sector will start investing more and more in this. There's no question about it, right? Look at the period when we went through when we went into the cloud and digital era, which is not more than 10 years ago, right? When the whole boom of cloud and digital era happened. And that got really a leg up right after COVID, right? After 2019, in 20, people suddenly woke up and said, you know what? How is it that I have not invested in my online platform? I don't have a good mobile platform, etc. And then it went through the roof, right? What it did is it obviously created 10x amount of business for us here in India and for IT services globally. I believe something similar is going to happen. AI is going to bring down the cost of delivering goods and it's going to proliferate a lot more. And what it's going to do is it's going to challenge every organization to look at every corner of their business and say, how can I do this better with AI? And who is going to do it for them? It's companies like us. It's people like you who are in the IT sector. They are the ones who's going to do it for them. So I'm of the belief that we are going to see a ton of more work which will be AI enabled in the coming years, where every company will want to do something, will want to gain more out of AI tool based productivity and efficiencies.
So, irrespective of the sector, you would advocate that some basic coding skills is something which all of us
If
should be.
if you're in technology business, for sure.
Another subscriber, Regan Paul, has a another slightly different question. After Gen AI, he's asking what else can we expect as a watershed moment in technology sector. And he also, I think, is much more particular, wants to know the role of traditional database administrators, because after the advent of AI, will they be impacted more? Maybe he is in that kind of a role. Maybe that is why he is asking this particular thing. And he is also asking what can they learn to be relevant going forward.
That's a that's a very tough question for me. I'm not unfortunately techie enough to be able to address it. But um, the question on Gen AI, right? So I honestly don't have a crystal glass as to where we are going with Gen AI. Um, but I know that the world is chasing artificial general intelligence, or AGI as they call it, right? So how long will it take us to get there? Honestly, I have no idea. Um, I don't know even if the topmost experts really see AGI coming up. But that's the path in which we want to go. Now,
Sure.
with respect to database administration, my suggestion to you is that expand your learning, because you're absolutely in a great field. When you're looking at database, go beyond database, go into data engineering, right? Go into opportunities using AI. What else can I do, right? Upskill yourselves. Don't stay where you are. Upskill yourself and expand your horizons. And I'm sure you will find a lot of adjacent skills which you can use to be able to do better as you go along.
Rajesh, earlier in the conversation, you hinted that India would become the AI HQ central for the globe, given the kind of talent which we have in the country. A subscriber, PK Shukla, wants to know where do you believe that Indian IT industry can contribute in global AI development, specific areas which you can highlight?
Oh, I touched upon this topic, Mr. Shukla. I think we have our ability to contribute across the sector. We can contribute in research and development. We can contribute with innovation. We can contribute by creating value for every single company. This is the beauty of it, right? The entire world's Fortune 2000 companies work with Indian companies to run their business. They look at the Indian companies in India to provide solutions. All of us, 6 million. Is that the number you said, Venkatesh? That we are thereabouts employed
Correct,
in IT?
correct.
They look at us to provide solutions to create value. So there is no place that we cannot touch, right? There is an opportunity for us in supply chain. There is an opportunity for us in solving problems in the front end of retail, to front end of utility services, to consumer banking, to every sector. We have an opportunity to add value. It's across the sector horizon.
Before I move on to others, Mr. Shukla also adds on, just like Cognizant is gearing itself to ride this particular wave, Indian IT in general, how prepared are they? Because you have worked previously across different companies in the sector. From a sectoral perspective, where do you see, Rajesh, how ready is Indian IT to ride this particular wave?
It's a good question. My response is Indian IT sector is absolutely prepared to ride this wave. I I have a lot of friends across, like most of you, right? I have a lot of friends across the sector in different companies at varying levels, and I know that everybody is working on ensuring that their rank and file are trained on IT. Cognizant has about 250,000 employees trained on, sorry, not IT, I mean AI. So Cognizant has 250,000 employees trained on AI. We are constantly training people more and more technologies, and I can assure you that every IT company out there is doing the same. So we are all prepared and geared for the AI challenge and to support the aspirations of global companies as well in this.
Before I move on to the next question, I have a question to sneak in here. While you did say that obviously all of us need to upgrade our skills on an ongoing basis, who will pay for that? Do employees need to pay themselves? Will organizations on an ongoing basis need to invest in upgrading the skill, or is it somewhere in between where both of them, meet halfway? And even as employees upgrade their own skills, organizations also invest in them, in training them.
No, it's a good question. So here is my 2 cents, and I think I touched upon this, Venkatesh, a little while earlier. Look at Cognizant, for example, right? Um, we are significantly invested in training and enabling our associates. We are setting up a 14-acre campus in Sirseri in Chennai, where we can, train maybe 100,000 associates, on advanced AI technologies, and we're very serious about it, right? We train people across various technologies. So, for example, when a person comes in from college, we will train them on a bunch of technologies like Java, J2E, AI related stuff. Everything that you can think about. When a person gets to mid-career in terms of being a manager, we not only train them on continue to train them on technology, but we also give them soft skill trainings like negotiation skills, collaboration, critical thinking, and so on. As they go up in the leadership, networking skills, how to do power networking, and a bunch of others. So we are, companies like Cognizant are constantly investing and in training its employees. There is no going away from that, right? And we are invested in this for the long term. We are never asking you the question, oh, did you pay yourself for training? No, that's never a question, right? We are constantly investing, and it's our responsibility to do that. Now, having said that, as an IT professional who's been in this business for 35 years, I mentioned this earlier in the conversation, Venkatesh. All of this is available to you, but the onus of learning is on you. And that learning is from our ecosystem, it's from the things that are around us, right? So I log into Udemy, or I log into Khan Academy, or I log into any resource that I can to learn a concept which has just occurred to me, right? I want to understand this concept better. So my point there was, when I was talking about this earlier, Venkatesh, was that the best investment you make is investing on yourself. That's just my personal investment, right? Wherein I'm spending time. It's not about money. I'm spending time in learning new things, which may be accessible in an organization like Cognizant, which maybe you're doing on a flight when you're traveling 14 hours across the countries to travel from here to America or whatever, or you're sitting on a weekend and training yourself. But please be learning. We have to be lifelong learners in this profession. So constantly invest time on yourself, and of course organizations will take a responsibility of making sure they're providing the tools and platforms, etc., to train you.
One of the viewers of this live stream, Pratim Dey, who identifies himself as an editor at the National Book Trust of India, has a very unique question. He says, can artificial intelligence put challenges before creative literature? Will it be impacted?
It's a very good question. It's completely out of my comfort zone to answer. I would not be the right person to answer that question, Venkatesh. I have no knowledge of creative writing. I don't know what goes into it. I'm hopeful that AI supports and enhances the abilities, but I'm just not the right person to comment on it.
Okay. And another person has a question regarding AI, ethics, privacy. How do you view all this kind of challenges because of the ubiquitousness of AI, which will surround all of us?
No, I agree, and I think this is always a concern, right? In the digital world, especially privacy is a concern, data integrity is a concern, ethics is a concern. So I think it's a responsibility for every organization, and to make sure that whatever work you're doing, and I'll tell you honestly, Venkatesh, it's not just about AI. Ethics is a value system which you have to adhere to, whatever the sphere of work that you are in. So you have, and yes, but to the point, the question that was asked, today there are roles which are about ethical AI, just to make sure that if you're developing an LLM or SLM or whatever it is you're building, you are actually doing it within the boundaries of ethics, right? Every organization is investing on it. We have our ethics and compliance officer for AI in Cognizant as well, and that's their job. That team's job is to make sure that we are keeping an eye on everything that we're building, and we are not doing something that we should not be. So all organizations, have to invest into that, and all organizations have to take that path.
What precautions, Mr. Akashdeep Saxena wants to know, what precautions need to be taken in rolling out and ensuring balanced adoption of AI in Indian context? Is there anything unique to the India context at all, Rajesh? Or is
Uh,
this a global phenomenon?
I I really I am struggling to see if there is a special case or a context from an India standpoint. I'm not certain there is one. I think our context is very similar to that of companies globally as we roll out AI. I think we have to be, doing the same set of safeguards, and we have to be doing the same set of ethics and compliance for sure.
Another viewer, Lakshmi Srinivas, wants to know, has medicine been a little bit lax in adopting AI, especially the healthcare industries? Have they been a little bit slower? And she also wants to know, why do we want AI and robots to take over our work? This is much more generic, but specific to the healthcare and healthcare sector and medicine, have they been a little bit slower, Rajesh, in your
No,
understanding?
so no, Venkatesh, from my lens, right, all industries are equally competitive. And to answer her second question along with the first one, and when there is a technology that is evolving, which helps us do things better, faster, more efficiently, it's natural that it will get adopted. That is why AI is getting adopted. And you go back in time and look at the evolution of mankind, every evolution, right from invention of fire to wheels to whatever have you, it's only because it made life a lot more, it made things a lot more faster, more efficient, more productive. We have always chosen to go down that path, right? And for the obvious reasons. So yeah, so I think that's why where we are.
I have an in-house question from a senior colleague. Kurmanath wants you to address the issue while you highlighted the bit about investing on oneself, upgrading one skill set, as well as organizations investing on their people. In terms of the overall ecosystem, what do you want the government to do? Because they are such a key player and such a key stakeholder in all of this to enable this and make this happen.
Uh, Good question. I don't know if I have enough knowledge to be able to delve into that. My two cents is that government is doing what it needs to be doing. I think it's largely very supportive of businesses, uh, giving everybody the space to evolve. They also have their own programs which they're running out. For example, not necessarily government. For example, let's look at NASSCOM. Right, NASSCOM is a software association body that we have. Uh, we have a future skills program in NASSCOM, and Cognizant is partnering with NASSCOM on future skills. Future skills, basically the platform, you can actually go and check the platform online, allows you to be able to go and learn things. So we are building pathways along with NASSCOM to do that. So I'm not seeing anything specific that I need from the government per se, but yeah, I mean, we have to make sure that government also adopts AI, and I'm sure they're doing their bit to be able to do that. But otherwise, I don't have any specific comments on that.
Another viewer, Mukul Gupta, has must be a senior industry professional from the tone of his question. Will AI be an advantageous tool to assist new hires to get tasks and work done, which a tenured and senior folks do right now? And will they lay off senior folks and use new hires plus AI instead of them? That's a very real apprehension out there that because AI is, as you rightly pointed out, as a force multiplier in several ways, speeding up your entire process of learning. Uh, the senior folks, will they get therefore much less valuable? What do they need to prevent that from happening? What,
No, so I think it's a very valid question, and my two cents on what do they need to do. I think irrespective of your seniority, like we discussed earlier, please invest in learning, right? Invest in learning. See, I think the what I really appreciate with people who have been in the industry long enough is they generally have very deep knowledge in a particular domain, whether it's a business domain, like, oh, I understand insurance very well, or I understand banking very well, or I'm a great program manager or a project manager. And that depth of understanding clubbed with the application of AI is a lethal combination, right? And that is what companies like us are always looking to do. We are looking to train our senior population, mid-level managers or senior managers, to make sure that they are using AI so that they can actually bring a significant value addition to our clients. Now, when we keep talking about job losses, I just want you guys to reflect back for a moment on the discussion we have had so far. Every technology shift has actually enabled the global economy to really grow faster. Just look at India itself, right? Last third, last 20 years, how the GDP has of the country has really gone up, and it has gone up on the back of technologies. It's gone up on the back of adoption of internet. It has gone up on the back of adoption of mobile, and all the technologies that run on these, right? So I would be actually excited and not apprehensive. And Venkatesh, you said, our IT industry is around $250 billion thereabouts, right? I'm looking forward to this doubling in the coming years. Because why? Because there will be more percolation of the technology. There will be more adoption of technology. It will obviously become cheaper for companies to be able to do a lot more. Because the productivity will go up, the efficiencies will go up, so they will end up spending more because they want to be able to do more, and they won't end up spending less. They want to get larger share of the market, so they end up spending more. They innovate more. They have more money to spend on innovation, on product creation. There is more to go around. So I'm really hopeful that this industry will go from where we are, which is 250, 300 billion, and become more than double of that. And in
So
that process, how do we get there? I mean, we need all these skill sets and all these experiences to get there.
so reassuring to hear from such a senior person that this is more of an opportunity rather than a threat for the industry in general. One final question, Rajesh. Sri Kumar, who is viewing this, wants to know, will AI generate a conflict between man and machine? Is that a challenge which we should be aware of?
I have I have as much knowledge as you have, Sri Kumar, in that space, whether AI will generate a conflict between man and machine. I hope not. I hope AI will continue to be assisting us in becoming more productive, in advancing the cause of humanity, where we can actually produce, medicines faster for cure of diseases which exist today, for where we can actually deliver better customer service for customers who are banking with a bank, for those who are in insurance, and all other sectors, right? I'm very hopeful that this is a positive direction. Like all technology changes have happened over the years, it will of course challenge us to learn things new. It will of course challenge us to create new jobs, but it will of course create more momentum in our economy. It will help us grow a lot more, and we will all see the upside of it.
One final question. Let me sneak this in because I find this to be interesting. Venkata Subramanian Srinivasan, I hope I pronounced the name correctly. He is asking to train students on AI tools or AI development. Resource persons are very rare and very costly. Do we actually have the kind of expertise available? Because what you're outlining, Rajesh, is training at scale, and this is a industry which employs 6 million people, trainings and several more waiting, several hundreds of thousands waiting to get in. So, do we have the necessary expertise to actually train and scale?
I think we are getting there, Venkatesh. If you had asked me this question 18 months ago, I would have said, oh man, we are just beginning to scratch the surface. But in the last 18 to 24 months, I think the industry has scaled up significantly. There are a lot more people who are AI trained, enabled, certified, aware in all levels. So I think we have the base population to be able to train the rest of the population for sure. and all companies are continuously investing towards that.
Rajesh, it's been an absolute pleasure over the last hour to hear such kind of reassurance that actually AI is a bigger opportunity rather than a threat for the entire industry. And all of us should, if any, should be excited and adapt to the changes which are rolling out. And I'm pretty sure that organizations will, like Cognizant, will lead from the front the kind of changes which we are seeing out there in the marketplace. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks to all the subscribers, viewers, listeners, wherever you are for logging in. And thank you, Rajesh, for your time.
Thanks a lot, Venkatesh. Fantastic being on this chat with you. It's amazing having this conversation. Just last message for everybody: just be lifelong learners. That's part of our industry. That's part of our job, and I'm very positive about where AI is going to take us. Thank you very much for having me here.
Thank you.